If you're not familiar with Blair Warren's one-sentence persuasion course, you will be today, and over the next several days, in fact. I would like to cover each of the phrases in the one-sentence persuasion course, and we're going to look at little examples that you can study and apply today from it. So it goes like this. The one-sentence persuasion course is: people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. Okay, so the Trump campaign, the victorious Trump campaign, and the messaging thereof, particularly from JD Vance, his VP nominee and now vice president-elect, soon to be vice president, I think did a good job of encouraging dreams. So he talked regularly about reviving the American dream, bringing back the American dream, making the American dream great again. And when he did this, he made, first of all, it clear, going from the red to the black, black to the green. Okay, so I'm mixing up the colors, but this idea that Americans can't afford groceries, Americans are having trouble affording gas, Americans can't afford a good house for their family, Americans can't afford to live on a single family income so that likely the wife and mother can be with the children at home during those critical early years of childhood, so on and so forth. It's like going back to the 80s and 90s when many people were able to experience all of that. This time of year, people are watching the 1990 film Home Alone. People are remarking how big the house is, how many children the McAllisters had, and yet they lived on one income. I remember the 90s. There's been a lot of nostalgia. Jack Posobiec posted about the Centennial generation. This is originally Gen Y. These are the people born 1981 to 1990 or so. So they have formative years in the 1990s. Now, I was born in 1991, so I have fewer of those, but I do still have them from the mid to late 90s. And it certainly checks out. Certainly checks out. The experience of dad worked, mom stayed home with the kids, and there were 3+ kids in a family, that was normal. One, many times 2 cars that they owned outright, not car payments, but owned. Nice house, safe neighborhood. This was normal. Now, I was part of a county-wide homeschool group growing up, so I got to witness other backgrounds, other family dynamics, many other races even, and some religions actually, than your typical lower middle class American kid growing up in the 90s would. And this is that dynamic that I saw cut across demographics. It is now upper middle class only, or at least it was until November 5th, 2024. The purpose of JD Vance was, and I believe this is the brilliance of selecting him. Now, he endorsed one of my books called Unhumans this past year. It made national headlines, by the way. That endorsement and the book itself from JD Vance. Probably because the book is such a testosterone replacement therapy and literary form for the Republican Party, and the left didn't know what to do with that. But coming back to JD, he is someone who has seen both sides of the tracks. He grew up on the wrong side, so to speak. He knows what that's like. And now he raises his children on the right side of the tracks. And he has seen what causes poverty, what keeps people in poverty, and what gets people out of it. This is the perfect person to encourage their dreams. And of course, we saw the victorious popular vote that Donald Trump received, I believe, was bolstered by the selection of JD Vance. Now, JD has been a, let's say, cultural icon, a socio-political and cultural icon since 2020, 2021. I met him back in 2017 when he was still doing a book tour for Hillbilly Elegy. We spent the afternoon together. Yeah, like morning, afternoon. Had the day together. It was great. Many great conversations with him. This is sort of pre-fame. And what's interesting, most people that you meet pre-fame and post-fame. Now, he was a best-selling author. He was a speaker. He'd given a TED Talk by that point already, right? So it's not like he was not a celebrity. But this was before his movie. This was before the Senate. This is before everything else. When he was kind of out in public, anonymous. Not anonymous anymore. And what I find interesting about him in that transition, he was the same guy back in 2017 that you see on television, that you see on social media, that you might even see in person. But his confidence is roughly 1,000% higher. Keep that in mind. If you want to go big places, have big confidence. Now, that's not to say he wasn't confident back in 2017-ish. It's to say that the projection of certainty, the voice of authority, the beard that he has, it's a sort of a great American dad vibe, especially since he wears flannel so much. He wears vests. Like, he looks like he's in charge of something important. He looks like the dads you saw on good quality television shows in the 80s and 90s. The likable, respectable dads. People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams. JD Vance is making dads great again. Think about that. Think about that. Because that's a dream that men have, young men. They want to be fathers and husbands with women who want to be mothers and who want to be married to them. I believe this is the critical component of the cultural messaging of he and his family, and that they have 3 children. Donald Trump has 5 children. Many of the members, if not all of the members that have been selected for the cabinet, for the administration, are parents themselves, with few exceptions, and a lot of kids, right? Elon Musk has 12. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has 7. Okay, these are pro-fertility, pro-parenthood, pro-family people. This is another aspect to the encouraging of the dreams. It's about also, you must encourage the right dreams at the right time. Remember what I said a few minutes ago about going from the red to the black, black to the green? Right? It's sort of like red is, you're in the negative, and black is you're breaking even better, but green is you're really doing well. JD Vance has not been out here with a populist message about prosperity, riches, wealth. He's not telling people who are in the red about what it's like to go into the green. He's saying basics like get fentanyl off the streets so our people can stop dying. Stop moving additional factories to China and to Mexico. Make these other countries who take advantage of American workers pay for it. Bring back jobs. Being able to afford groceries and gas. So this is a dream that is within reach. So it's not an unrealistic dream. It's not an unrealistic ask. It's not pie in the sky. It's not telling people who are struggling, there's this amazing prosperity and wealth available to you if you just voted for Donald Trump, which is not at all what he's been doing. So the promise, the encouraging of the dreams, matches the ask. If you are going to persuade people, you need to ensure that the ask you are making is believable, in that if you do as they ask, then you'll be unlocking the things that you are promising them, versus pie in the sky, get rich quick sort of prosperity gospel type of presentation, persuasion, pitches, this sort of thing, where it's just way over the top, way out of line. So think about your sales pages if you write them. Think about your sales letters, your sales emails, your social media content. out there, understand that one of the reasons so many of these of pitches for otherwise great products and services fail is because the dreams being encouraged are too big. They feel like, well, there's no way I could get from there to here. So I learned this, by the way, from a fellow. I don't have respect for him anymore, but it is what it is. You can still take things for people you don't like. Ramit Sethi. I spent some time with him in private. Who he was in those days versus who he is now, sort of this, let's say, Mark Cubanoid. We'll call him that. And I think you know exactly what I mean by that. He pointed out that if you take testimonials that are too unbelievable and you market them over and over and over and over and over again to people who can't even imagine, who are frankly a little demoralized, and this is the key. The American voters have been demoralized. A majority of them have been demoralized. If you make a promise to them like, this is Ramit Sethi's pitch. If you say, take my course and earn $10,000 a month, it's going to appeal only to the most desperate and to the least skeptical. And those people are least likely to have a work ethic. Okay, that's my commentary. And so they're the least likely to be able to pay and get any results. But what if you said, these methods can help you earn $1,000 extra a month? So if you take 10% of the promise that you're unlocking, that you can unlock, if you pitch that, that is going from the red to the black. That is, wow, I can imagine that happening. I can see that. That doesn't feel too unrealistic for where I'm at right now. Now, I will say also that the counterpoint to this you might be thinking is, Joshua, so good they call you a fake. Isn't that about making over-the-top promises that you can actually back up and prove that you can have a demonstrated ability to accomplish them? We're specifically talking about audiences that are demoralized. The consumer, the American lower class, working class, lower middle class consumer. Most audiences who are reading this book, that's not them. That's not them. They are in the black, and they are seeing people who are in the green, and they're thinking, how in the world did they get there without putting in the work that I've done? Well, it's because you're not promoting your greatest and best results. So it's a different message. So I want to point out that there could be a seeming contradiction between these two things about being so good they call you a fake and actually attracting negative energy, negative attention from haters and naysayers and doubters, and leveraging that for great effect, great self-promotional effect. That is a different audience, different message than the disgruntled American voter who reads a story like JD Vance, and that's them, or that's their brother, or that's someone that's close to them, and they see themselves in that story. And he has become undemoralized. He made it. But notice his promise. It could have been, Trump's message could have been about freedom cities, which resonates to me. I have a cold, so I'm a little squeaky today. One of the greatest promises of the Trump campaign, for me personally, is the freedom cities. Taking empty federal land and making it the greatest city of the future with the most freedom for the most people. Now, that's a green message that appeals to people like me who are in the black. That does not appeal to the typical consumer. So it has been de-emphasized. This might even be the first time you've heard anyone talk about freedom cities before, during, or after the election season. It's most exciting for me, but it's not most exciting for people who are in the red. So part of this is knowing your audience. Are they people who are in the red and need a black message, or are the people who are in the black and need a green message? If they're in the black and need a green message, they need that over the top, no way sort of a message. Like, so good they call you a fake. If your audience is in the red, they need a black message. They need it can get a little bit better. And by being a little bit better, it's going to be a lot better. That's the sort of message that they need. I get it. I've been there with you. I know how it feels. That's what it means to encourage their dreams. And I think you should go and do likewise.